Joining me now alongside my co-host Erin Elmore, reporter for the Daily Caller, Brianna Lyman, who's usually in studio, but she's off today, and best-selling author and political analyst Mark Halperin. Panel, welcome. All right, so I want to start with some breaking news, obviously. John Durham says the CIA found data alleging that the Trump-Russia connection was not technically plausible and was user-created. Mark, we saw CIA Director Brennan come out and basically support this. The talking point was that 57 or 51 law enforcement agencies and intel officials endorsed this dossier. What do you make of it now?
I think Durham has been teasing out different aspects of how he sees things. It would be great if he would start to speak to this, not just in the context of this one criminal indictment, but in a broader way. And I hope we get to that sooner rather than later, because he's had access to information that no one has had, including people in the press.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem, Erin, is that we've seen tons and tons of times that they've alleged these things. Now, Mike Flynn doesn't even lie to the FBI. Yeah. The FBI said that we don't think he lied to us. Then they went around and prosecuted him for lying to the FBI. And now you have the CIA saying that this whole report, this whole Russian dossier from the Steele dossier is completely fake. Who's going to jail?
Well, the problem also is no one, of course. Yeah. But the problem is it's too little, too late. Just like Hunter Biden's laptop. The election has happened. Time has passed. Yeah. These things have consequences, especially when they don't happen in real time. Yeah. And from the top to the bottom, the Democrat Party is completely failing. Yeah. Inflation is through the roof, crime rates are soaring, and we appear powerless in the eyes of our global adversaries. Brianna, how do you think the American people are looking at the Biden administration right now?
I think a lot of people aren't even looking. They want to keep their eyes closed. They don't want to see what's going on. I mean, it is true. I mean, you see crime rising. I know we've just heard another guest say before, talking about things like ghost guns and what the Biden administration is, tackling right now. And I think the biggest thing is that, for instance, with gun violence, Democrats are using, gun violence as a shield to protect from their really inefficient policies when they should be focused on things like leniency of prosecutors and things like that. And Democrats are consistently taking the wrong avenue to address big issues. And no one seems to focus on the fact that what they're doing isn't working and it's ineffective.
I mean, completely. And it's a shame that the American people have to live under these circumstances because we're living with inflation soaring and gas prices. You go to the
kitchen table issues.
Yeah. The people that are going to take these kitchen table issues to the polls with them in November?
I do. I think there'll be a swirl of other stuff, but I would have a pretty high degree of confidence that the exit polls are going to show that people look not just at inflation, but at their belief that the Biden administration doesn't have a solution as a big part of the motivating force of turning out to vote.
Yeah. Well, Brianna, it seems like Democrats, they're already planning the excuses to justify the midterms losses.
Putin.
Yeah, the Putin price hike, but then there was nothing we could do, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And the problem is, I mean, look, my kids right now are at home opening their Easter baskets. They don't really realize there's a thing, but those Easter baskets cost me twice as much. I went to Costco yesterday. I do like bi-weekly or monthly trips to Costco. I spent like $900 at Costco. I bought the same stuff, but normally it's like $500 or $600. I mean, is this something that the Democrats are going to have any leg to stand on in the midterms?
Absolutely not. And I think it's up to voters. We can blame Putin all we want for these price hikes, but it also comes down to voters and whether or not they're cognizant of what's going on and who's to blame. And I think a lot of them want to pretend that it's not their favorite, Democrats that are making their pockets empty faster. And they want to say that it's the Putin price hike. But we know that prices like gas prices, they were rising well before Russia invaded Ukraine, and Biden can deflect all he wants. But this is a man who promised, 2-3 years ago, that he's going to take responsibility and he's not going to point fingers. And now, 3 fingers are pointing back at him as he's pointing one finger towards Putin.
He did say that. Mark, do you think there's any revelations for Democrats before the midterms?
Right now, I don't see anything they're doing that's going to change the trajectory. I think their goal is to try to demonize Donald Trump, which we saw what happened when they tried that in Virginia.
Yeah.
Can't keep blaming Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that's the problem, too, is like recently the Democrats just came out and they said, oh, no, our policies aren't bad. We just did a bad job communicating them.
No, this isn't communication. It's not paying my bills at the end of every month.
Exactly.